record. All righty. Hey guys, it is me,
What's
Shay.
up? And it's Josh.
And guys, we are back. Happy New Year's. I hope you guys had a really great New Year's. It's
Woo!
2022. Fucking New Year.
2022?
Here we go.
22?
I definitely had a good New Year's. I just sat at home and I had a whole bottle of champagne all by myself. There was nobody here except me and Cyrus, and he was doing his own thing in his room. But I did bring in the New Year's with a bottle. Yeah, I did. What about you, Josh?
Hey. Well, I did nothing the same. So uh, I know, right? It's just COVID and everything going on. You kind of just want to stay
Exactly.
out the way. I
You know
made
what?
it
You'd
through
be
2021.
surprised all the
I
people that
damn
kicked it.
sure. Oh yeah, and I damn sure want to take it through 2022. So no, I just stayed at home. Um, Probably what 11:57. I went on in the basement and to prepare for the gunshots, and they did endure.
Okay. Ooh,
So about 20 minutes of gunshots. About 12:20. It's completely ceased
that was very
because it
safe
was
of
cold
you.
as a mother out there, and black people don't like to be out there cold. So they
Yes.
came on back in at 12:20. It stopped abruptly, and so I came back upstairs with my dog, and I went to bed and was very excited because if it was 50 degrees or 60 degrees like it was the weekend before, we would have been dealing with gunshots about 1:30. So, and hallelujah,
Okay.
amen.
Yeah, this was actually our first year in our first New Year's in our new neighborhood when we bought our house. And
Oh,
so we don't have a basement in this house. We do have two floors, but there was a lot of fireworks, but then there was a lot of
okay.
gunshots,
Oh,
especially
was it?
the black family across the street.
Oh,
They
yeah.
would like they were like it was like literally right outside the house. I was like, oh, wait, they ain't shooting these bullets. Like I need to. So, but like you, it was cold in Chicago. They was not about that life.
Yeah.
So, ended real quick. So, but cool. I'm glad everybody. I know you and I had a great New Year's, and I hope you guys had a really great New Year's. But it's time to jump in to these topics because, like
Yes, it
it
is.
says,
Let's get it
New
going.
Year, more news. Okay, so let's jump
Yeah.
in. Give you guys a follow up to what we talked about last time with the Rigel Aguilera Madero situation. Just to remind you, he is the young man who was sentenced to 110 years for the tragic accident that happened. I want to say that was in Utah, Colorado. I think it was in Colorado. And
Colorado. Yeah.
yeah, Colorado. And they have reduced his sentence from 110 years to 10 years. How are you feeling
Woo.
about that, Josh? How are you feeling about 10 years? Was that
Uh,
fair? Should we
you
got
know,
less?
well, what's crazy is it's hard to. I think we talked about it's hard to like compare it because well, damn, you was getting 110 years and you got 10. So I don't know. It's just like we supposed to lift our hands like, oh, thank you, Master, for from delivering us from the 100 years. When really what we need is criminal reform with those laws and things like that. And just like every other instance in this country, we don't go after the issues that really pose when it comes to these types of harsh sentences and mandatory minimums
True.
because most of the time these mandatory minimums what they apply to people of color. So yeah,
Yes.
I guess I'm happy about that he will be able to get out and enjoy his life. But 10 years is still a long time to sit in
That
jail and
is. It
think about
is.
what happened.
It is.
So
Yeah, I have to agree. I agree with everything you said. When I remember I initially sent it to you, and I was like, "Well, 10 years seems fair." But then you was like, "But is it though?" And I'm kind of like, after it's kind of sitting with it, I'm kind of like, 10 years is a long time, and I know that they've tried to be
it's a
very
long time.
mindful of the families that who lost loved ones,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
really trying to, I was trying to find some really information about if, if he owned the truck or if it was part of a company. And apparently it was part of a company. And, you know, and I think what's really hurting him right now is the fact that they're really holding the, he didn't use one of those. lanes, I guess. So there's a lane that truckers can use if their brakes fail, if they feel like they're to avoid an accident, they just lane or this ramp they can go up, and it kind of like helps
Right.
them stop. And he bypassed one of those, and which caused this tragic accident. And so I kind of feel like that's what they're kind of holding him against a little bit with this sentencing.
Yeah.
And logically, you
Yeah.
see 110 years, and they knock off 100, and you like, whoo, okay, 10 years seems fair. But it's like, is 10
Yeah.
years still really fair? Like you said, it's 10 years he's going to be spending in jail away from his family. I don't know if they're going to try to appeal that. I haven't seen anything about the lawyers trying to appeal that. But like I said, it's a really long time. And I know just watching him in court, and
Yeah.
just you can just see the pain and the guilt and the shame in his face. Like, he's going to have to every year, this is going to just be just a reminder for him. So I just
Yeah.
really, sending him all the positive vibes and love, and not just for him, but even the families, because, I haven't heard any of the families come out and say like, oh, he deserves more. I think they're
Yeah.
aware that this was just a really tragic accident, and there was no malice or no intention for him to cause any harm. But, his brakes failed, that it'd be like if any one of us was on the highway and our brakes just fail, after we did bought a new car and the brakes fail, and it's kind of like,
Right.
and we cause an accident. It's kind of like we wasn't trying to, be malicious with that. So yeah, but it like you do shed light on a good point about these harsh sentences and how the law is written for prosecutors to even stack it the way they did. And that's what happened in this
Right.
situation, how they were able to get, because a lot of people like 110 years, really? It's like, yeah, they didn't run them, what is it, concurrently,
Concurrent.
or
Yeah.
they
Or
run it concurrently. They
consecutively.
run it consecutively. So one
Yeah.
after the other,
Yeah.
and so just unfortunate in it. But hopefully, we can see some progress in these laws and get some things changed, so things like this
Yeah.
don't happen.
Yeah. No, but you, but just to touch on that though, I mean, we don't want to be not mindful of the people, the family that lost their loved ones. And
Right.
I do know that one of the family members did kind of speak out and they were upset. But and obviously, I understand why they're upset. They lost their loved ones. And I don't know, is there some type of responsibility with the company? Because yeah, you as a trucker are responsible for checking everything that you're responsible for, but as a company, what uh, in provisions and things like that do you have in place to keep your drivers' vehicles in check and making sure they're compliant with all laws and safety measures that are in place to avoid these types of situations? And then, I mean, he was a
Right.
young man, what, 26 years old or something like that, young, and
Yeah.
inexperienced, very inexperienced, but I don't know. It's almost like the Kim Potter trial. Her as a police officer, even though she didn't have the malice behind it, and she ended up killing Dante Wright, then maybe this guy as well deserves to go to jail. But then he just doesn't deserve to spend the rest of his life in jail. And me and you have the same sentiment towards
Yeah.
her in that trial. So hey, we'll just kind of move on from here. I'm just glad, like you said, it wasn't 110 years, so that young man will be able to get out and still enjoy his life. And I say that without that burden of killing people. It's going to stick with him.
Right.
Like you said, obviously in the court, the way he acted. So he has enough to live with.
Hopefully. And I think it's also telling, and we probably can end on this point, is the amount of support he received from other
Yeah.
truckers, and them like, protesting and, not driving on the highway. They just all stand still. And it's like the
Right.
people within this country who said, this isn't fair. And if we can actually
Yeah.
rally around more, have that same energy with some other stuff, we may get
We
somewhere.
get somewhere.
We may get
We get
somewhere.
somewhere.
So, but yeah, hopefully, the family, they can get through this, and he can, be able to And the only other thing that I worry about is, I'm assuming that he's never been in jail before. I'm going to just make that assumption.
Right.
Is what jail can
Right.
do to you. I've watched
Yeah.
so many prison stories and just prison shows,
Yeah.
and I just really hope that his time in jail is, he can get through it. It's not, a
Yeah.
lot of trauma like jail in itself, because I feel like it's trauma, but I just feel like I just hope he
Yeah.
doesn't have a very difficult time in prison, just given what goes on in prison. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll be
Yeah.
on a really good, general population, like a low offender type of thing, where he doesn't have to worry about any of those crazy things that happen in jail. So
Right.
that's another story for a different day.
Absolutely.
All right, but let's move on. What we got next?
It looks like we are going to talk about the January 6th insurrection anniversary, which is upon
Uh,
us, people.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow is the
Tomorrow, one
anniversary.
year.
1 year since these clowns and these fools got up one morning and decided that they're going to take their America back and go down there and cause some hell. And they
Exactly.
took our jobs and all of that crap that they pulled. And so let's kind of rewind of where we are right now and where we
Yeah.
were a year ago. So this evening, President Trump, well, a year ago this evening, all had this plan. They all had this game plan. A lot of lawyers and different other people that Trump pulled into his circle all met in the office after planning weeks and weeks of this insurrection. Trump went on national TV and Twitter and all
His
these other
ass.
sources of media and told everybody what was going to happen. And you damn well believe it happened the very next day.
Exactly.
And approximately 140 members of law enforcement suffer injuries in the attack, many at the hands of the rioters wielding pepper spray and metal pipes, American flags fashioned into clubs. Those injuries included brain damage and crushed spinal
Mm,
disc. 5 people ultimately died during or soon after the riot, although not all
hmm
the deaths have been caused directly from the riots. But you can imagine the
Yeah.
mental anguish, physical pain that probably happens after that type of
Yeah.
traumatic event, just like any other instance of
hmm
PTSD. But let me let you know something: Black people have been going through PTSD for how long?
But
And this is why we deal with the
preach
things
it.
we deal with.
Come
So,
on now.
and and I don't mean to say that to discredit any pain, because pain is pain, and that's the thing that brings us human. It makes us all one. We all bleed the same. But I just want that same mindset when it comes to all people, people of color,
Right.
people, white people. I mean, just we all need to have that same consensus of pain is real, and we all feel it. So the
Right.
traumatic experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That is I still can't get over this. And I know that one woman, I think that Ashley Babbitt, I think when she was
yeah,
a veteran, was she the veteran who was killed by
I believe
Capitol
so.
Police?
I think so.
She was one of the rioters, and she was killed
Yeah,
by Capitol Police. And I also seen there was more than $1 million in
yeah,
damage. $1 million
yeah,
dollars in damage done to the Capitol building. And with all that said, of course, the FBI launched their investigation. And so far, as of to date, um, over 700 people have been arrested. The
yeah,
FBI thinks it was up to 2,000 who were actually involved in these riots. So far, 173 people have been found guilty or pled guilty to crimes. I think also that 74 people who have actually have been handed down sentences. The longest sentence so far is 5 years. And
yeah,
I don't know, but I feel like if you're gonna be called treason and you're gonna storm the Capitol and threaten to kill or even try to kill members of Congress and also the vice president at the time, and all y'all is getting this little boosie ass 5 years. Oh, look, that's a slap on the wrist. That's a slap on the fucking wrist. I
yeah,
feel like things like this come with an automatic 25 years. You ain't getting less
Yeah.
than. Like this, like
Yeah.
this is serious. And we can say all day, I know there's been talks like that, like had this been a Black Lives Matter protest,
And they got that far. Well, they wouldn't have got that far, but go ahead.
they wouldn't have got that far. But these sentences will be looking a whole lot different. Just a
Yeah.
whole lot different. I mean, because the average person who's like average, well, not the average person, but the average sentences for some of these people have only been 115 days. That's like a little over three
Yeah.
months, y'all.
Yeah.
3 months
For
in
what?
jail.
For what? Basically causing physical harm to not just one person, but dozens of people. And then what really bothers me, Shay, is that they did this in front of the American eye, not just American
Yes.
eye, around the world. Like
The whole
today's
world saw
world
it.
of media and not World Star, like they had it front line, front news, front page, front header, aliens in the sky, whatever. It was like right there in our face,
It
committed in front of
was.
our face, and they are getting away with it. And then today, oh Merrick Garland,
Merrick
oh
Garland.
Merrick the Mild, I would say that Joy Reid called him because he gets on TV and gives us the same speech that we've been hearing over and over again about where he is leading to and what could happen. And I get some of his hesitation because here's the thing. They have tried to come after Trump and impeach him twice. They tried to do all these things, and none of these things are sticking. So what
No.
Merrick is trying to do is he's trying to say, look, I cannot tell people about things. I cannot announce this out here. I can't do anything other than investigate and then let the facts lead us to the truth and to prosecution. And ultimately, you can't charge these many people of peons, of soldiers, foot soldiers, and actually not get a conviction of somebody at the top who was actually construing all
Right.
these things and pulling all the strings, and who's at the very top of the head of who wanted to stay in power, who fed all these lies? Donald J. Trump.
Donald Trump.
And he is
Yep.
still doing it today, still doing it openly today. So,
Right. He was
what
actually
we going to do?
supposed to have a. It's funny because he was actually supposed to have a rally tomorrow, and he
Yeah,
canceled it.
I did.
And so
Yeah,
he's gonna
because I think
postpone
of
that
optics.
until.
Yeah,
Yeah, the optics. It's
yeah,
terrible to even think that he would
yeah,
even want to have a rally on that day.
yeah,
But he ended up
yeah,
postponing it to later in the month of this month. And of course he's, did his like it's gonna be a huge crowd, big crowd. Like, fuck
yeah.
that. Doesn't nobody care about your damn crowds. But
No,
going back to what you said, like, I have to give it to the Insurrection Commission Board
oh
because
yeah, January.
one of the things the January 6th commission board and how they are handling the witnesses so far and the information that we have. And I think, if you haven't been watching the news, they have been releasing a lot of these text messages that has been
Yeah,
going on with different people at Fox News, even Trump's son and all these people, Ivanka and all of them, and what they knew, what they was trying to do the day of. And I really feel like they're doing this because I know we talked about it earlier. It's like this whole whitewashing, like,
yeah,
and it's so dangerous because we saw it. We saw what happened. We see what's going on. We heard the rhetoric. We knew what he was doing. And it's almost if, like one person tried to, describe it as, oh, they were just having a tour of the Capitol. Like, I don't see any
oh
rioting.
yeah,
And it's like the ultimate gaslighting. Like, I know what
yeah.
I see. There's video. Like, we have video proof, and it's they
Hours.
really are trying to downplay it, and I really think it reflects in the sentence that we see. Like, and that what makes me so frustrated. It's like I don't feel like they're taking this serious enough. Like, because
Yeah,
if people could do this in this country and just be like, oh, I'll get 115 days. What they gonna try
right.
next? They have Trump in their corner, and not
Yeah,
once has he come out and said like this was egregious. And then even Mike Pence, I'm like, he even blows my mind in all this. Like, dude, Trump sent his people, and people was
to
looking for
get you.
you with a noose,
That would have
and to
killed you.
see and would have killed you, and they would have did it all in the name of Trump and the
Yeah,
America, okay? And you sitting here supporting Trump like, that's water under the bridge. That was
yeah,
last year. And I like
yeah.
I really need everybody to not lose sight of like how serious this is, and
Very.
that this was just so crazy. And I hope that they continue to, find the people that were, a part of this.
Yeah,
I think they're totally getting off scot free with this. I mean, like I said, the longest sentence was 5 years. I mean,
yeah.
I think they're gonna find their people in jail. Like, hey, you was part of that. They're bragging about it. Like, I just think that it's just fucking crazy. Like, I just still can't
Dangerous.
believe
It's
this. It's
very
very
dangerous.
dangerous. And and there are hopes that there's always these talks about like, oh, there's going to be another type of situation like this, or
Yeah,
even Trump even considering a running in 2024. And so it's just like,
we're gonna deal with this
it's
again in
right. We're gonna do it
2024,
again, right? Like when you
and you
now
will.
have this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, Shay. And then here we are upon a year after, and we are. I would say that we are in a worse place that we are today than we were January 6th, because at that point there was no complete, I guess, diversion and all the just the dramatics and the bull crap behind closed doors and the whitewash and the green lighting and gaslighting and all that stuff that's happening now. It's like they saw it, we all saw it, and then now they're trying to wipe the slate clean and say it didn't happen. And what's going to happen next when people get together one more time at another type of event like this, and they actually succeed and kill people? We're going to be in
Exactly.
just in a bad place, and that's probably where I really just have the problem. And I think outside of that is that people are cowards in today's America. People, and I don't mean that like to say, oh, people won't go out there and do crazy things, but I mean the people that are, because 80 million people were the difference of how Biden got elected president versus
Right.
didn't. So those 80 plus million people are the majority of people that feel like this country is a democracy and things should be done the right way, and then that Trump lost. But the
Right.
minority of people are really driving this message home and winning. And if
Yes.
people think that we're not at the point where a democracy will collapse, it it will collapse. And I'm not saying this to be like high power. Let's say that word wrong, but I'm saying this. I can never
Yeah.
say it right. I'm like Joe Biden sometimes in that way, but um, we are at a point where democracy can crash. And if the Republicans win the House in 2022, which is the midterm election coming up, that will be the step in that process of complete collapse. Because then we already have complacency and complicity
Yeah.
within the Senate of people like McConnell that won't stand up against it. And then we got people even on our side that really are kind of fighting against what plans we're trying to put in place to make things better. So, what are we going to do when all this
Right.
shit
That's
happens again?
Mansion's ass right
Trump's in
there.
office. Yeah, Trump's in office again, which don't I'm. It could happen. Like I'm telling
Right.
you
That's
that
the crazy
it
thing, that
could
it could
happen.
happen. Right. And I think people really need to understand like this could happen again. And it can even be
Yeah,
as more extreme. Like 2022, this year is going to be a huge year
yeah,
that really encouraging everybody to go out and vote. And especially when it comes to either your state senators or your congressmen or congresswomen, who are up for reelection or new people that are trying to get in. Like, really do your homework, really get out there and go and vote. But I know even one of the crazier conspiracies that I've heard them talk about on Fox News, like that this is a real plan, that if the Republicans can win the House or win the Senate, their plan is to elect Trump as the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
So they can plan to impeach Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Which then, of course, if you don't know how like the chain of command works, president, vice president, then it's the Speaker of the House, and that they're really considering this. Or if they can win the House and the Senate, is that I feel like Trump will feel like, okay, well, I have to run again, and it's just kind of like, do we really want this repeat? Like, we need to get people out, like the Manchins and the McConnells and the what's my boy, the Jim
Cinemas.
Jordans and the Matt
Yeah.
Gates and the
Kristen
Marjorie
Cinemas,
Taylor
all of them.
Greens, all
Oh
of
my God.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even Nancy Pelosi, I'm like, y'all, I'm so for term limits. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But it's like we need a control alt delete, reboot
Yeah.
this, reboot the system, right? But like we don't want to see another Trump era. And then also too, when you talk about our democracies, even the voting, is that even, let's just say the Democrats can pull it off in the midterm elections. It's the seed has been planted for voter fraud.
Right.
That has been planted. There are still people today. You know what I'm saying? You can watch these people on the Trevor Noah show when they have his little boy go out there to these little Trump rallies that Trump's still having. People are still saying that Trump is still the president.
Oh yeah.
People are still saying that, Kennedy is going to come back as his vice president. Like, these people are crazy. This is so crazy. And they still believe that he is the president, that he somehow, by some sheer miracle, they've been talking about this for I don't know how long. But we have to understand, like, as even though it's funny coming out when you hear it and coming out your mouth, it is so serious. Like, watching what our country is in right now, the state of our democracy, is like, whoo. It's
and
like,
the fact that Trump won the first time.
Right. Exactly. And all the people who now kiss his ass were the same ones in the beginning saying how a dumbass he was. And now they're kissing his ass. So, but y'all go out there and vote. We can't.
Go out there, vote, and hold your people accountable. Like,
yes,
we're
that too. Yes,
holding our brothers and our cousins and our friends accountable. I don't know what else to tell you to get you to feel that voting is important or democracy is important. You think that you are tough enough to go against radical people and extremists that have rocket launchers and they just want to launch and kill a bunch of niggas. Just being very honest with you. We cannot have this this shit show that happened a year ago tomorrow be something that sets precedents to where it's going to continue to happen. No. This has to stop. And it really will stop if we not overturn, but I mean vote and actually push those people out that need to go. Now, I'm on the fence sometimes. I agree with you though, Shay, with like people like Pelosi and all of them have to go. But in some sense, those people, just like the people of our parents and their parents, are maybe still alive if they are still with us. They're the ones that keep the traditions together and the glue of everything together. Because right now there's just so far left people and there's just so far right people, and there just isn't enough middle people. And we talked about this last time, is that we're going to keep having these complete, crazy, chaotic, divisive issues in this country because we just are not in the middle. It's just too far left and too far right. So I don't know. Hopefully, we find a great new leader that could take over for the Speaker of the House, which I do believe Nancy will move back and move on. But she's very smart and very skilled at her job and being able to count the votes and get things passed. Obamacare was her, pushing it through, her and then the
Mm-hmm.
late Harry Reid, who just died. He pushed it through in the
Mm-hmm.
Senate. So these people are great and powerful, but we really are needing people like me and you, and people that are
Right.
watching this right now. I know you have a voice. I know that you sometimes don't feel like your voice matters or your opinion matters, but it does. And the
It does.
moment we, as a democracy, stop and we don't feel like it matters, is when they win. And if we think about the Confederacy, if the Confederacy would have won, where would we be right now? So,
I don't
and
even
I'm
think
not
about
saying
that.
that to just muddy the waters. It's just a true comparison to
Right.
a side of the country that was always alive here and is still here after the Civil War. It's just that the other side of the coin are a bunch of good, hardworking people that want a cohesiveness when it comes to everybody in this country. And so we have to keep that cohesiveness together. We can't allow even the media sometimes our own left wing media really kind of pushes some of those agendas and
Right.
things like that kind of keep us in those muddy waters. But people don't let those muddy waters blind you. Keep your eye on the goal, on the prize, and just know that you're going to have to go out there and vote. You're going to have to maybe call some people and a campaign and
Yeah.
get out there in the field. And if you feel like you can do a better job in these seats, run for
Yes.
office. Let people know that we can support you. We want to see up and coming,
Exactly.
new leaders taking over and actually taking us to the new century. So
Right. And if you don't think your voice matters, to all of us who is still paying some damn student loans, when Joe
yeah,
Biden said you got that repayment letter, and we all done raised hell, and he said, "All right, now I didn't heard y'all. We gonna just postpone it to the summer."
yeah,
That was your voice. We
yeah,
raised hell, the
yeah,
same real hell y'all raised when we trying to cancel people and all this stuff. It's like
yeah,
it changes. People
yeah,
listen. And so, yeah,
yeah,
I'm with you on that. Go out there, vote. If you're fresh, if you feel like you are, innovative and you want to bring new ideas and you want to be fair, I'm not looking for, I'm a registered independent. So,
yeah.
I'm just looking for somebody who's fair. If that person's
Right.
Republican and they're registered Republican and they're going to be fair, then I can vote for
Yeah,
Republican. If they're, a Democrat and they're going to be fair, then I can get with that. Or they're independent. I'm just
yeah.
looking for someone who's going to be fair and have everybody's best interest at heart, and how we can get back on track as a country and how we can help everybody. So
Right.
we're gonna end it on that note. Get into some pop culture news, y'all. I had so many people texting me on this day, and I said 2021 said we about to go out with a fucking bang. Betty White.
Oh,
Betty White, y'all. Like she was on the cusp of
Betty.
a hundred years, and before
Yeah,
her birthday, I think her birthday was this month. I want to say it was supposed to be on the 15th or the 17th. I
it's
want to
coming
say,
up. It was very
yeah.
close. Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, I am a huge Golden Girls fan. Um, I have been watching the Golden Girls ever since I was a little kid. I have
Yeah.
probably seen, I know I have seen every episode over 1,000 times. I have the DVDs. I still watch them regularly on Hulu. Because I just love it. It was a great show. I loved her outside of the Golden Girls. Even though
Yeah.
this movie is just so crazy, Lake Placid, her ass in that movie
Oh yeah.
cracked me up, feeding the
I liked
alligator.
it.
I'm like, Betty, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, but when she was on
Yeah.
My Wife and Kids as I think she was like new maid or something, and
Right.
I forget the show. I didn't watch her on the show that she was on with not Ryan Seacrest, but Ryan Reynolds. I don't know if that was a movie or a show,
Oh,
but I seen clips of it. But man, like what? a life to live. 99 years old.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
but you know what? And I really mean this. I know there's a lot of fans out there that love her, and I love her in very much ways. Um, but let's just put it out there. It is a blessing. She made it to 99 years old. Like, I mean, like people are like, "Oh Lord, not Betty. Oh no, God, why
But
her?
I feel you
It's
on
not
that.
her
I feel
time.
you. But it's like, damn,
It's
she
not
was
her time.
99.
Yeah, it's not her time. No, God's like, come on, Betty. Come on home, Betty. Like, it's time to come on home. Like,
Why
you've
did
been
he do
down
that?
there longer than
Why did he
me.
do that?
Like, you've been
Why did he
down
do
there
that?
longer than me.
Why
Jesus
did he
said,
do
come
that?
on, Betty. You've been down there longer than me. Come on home. Come on home, Betty.
Not longer than me.
And, you know, all right, right.
Oh my
Betty
God.
transcends into different culture, and so I always respected that Betty didn't stray away from interacting with people of color. She didn't stray
Yeah,
away from helping people, and she was definitely a kind soul. And so this world, as of today, is definitely a little bit more colder because someone like Betty White isn't there. Because we need people
right.
like her, ambassadors that will are willing to blend those lines of color. I don't know if you know this or you might know this, but Betty White had a show back a long, long time ago in the very beginning. I don't know what year, and I'll have to kind of look up the facts and we can post it later or whatever. But she had a show where she was actually allowing black people to come on when other people wasn't.
Yes, I did hear
So
about that.
yeah, so thank you, Betty, for being an ambassador to race relations, which is really true in this country. People like you helped mesh us into a better what melting pot of people. So we're gonna miss you, Betty. But it's 99 years old. I kind of contrast this to my own grandmother.
Wait a
So
minute. She was she was 99,
99,
y'all.
she was 99. My grandma, like, I love my grandma and our family. She was the glue, but she died when she was 99 too, and so she was almost 100. And like it took us out, like very sad. But we just like grandma. I pray to God I
She
live 99 years. So
right. A
bless her.
vibrant
What a
99 years. Like she
yeah,
was working for over 70
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Just
mm,
working. I only hope that I can be vibrant and moving around and just,
right,
at 99. But I feel, 99 years, you didn't live a full life.
yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't
What
went
did they
through
say?
some
No, no, no.
who
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say the beginning we lost Cicely Tyson and it ended it, and we lost
exactly
Betty White. What the
and lost Betty White. Yeah. Cicely Tyson,
so?
I was like, is this how we started out 2020? I mean, 2020?
Oh my god. Yeah,
Cicely?
yeah.
Oh, so
Ooh,
yeah, so Betty
yeah.
White,
She was gold too, Lord. Mm,
thank you for being our friend, girl.
thank you. Thank you for being our
Uh,
friend.
okay, moving on into some just really just messy bullshit. Um, it's because it's all on my TikTok timeline when it comes to Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian.
I'll let you talk
So,
about this, Shay, because this is not my area of expertise.
so all of you guys who do follow the whole Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian, all you fans out there. So apparently, of course, he stepped out on her again and resulted in, and now confirmed today, he having his third child with his
Oh
third
wow.
baby mama.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, and a lot of people, of course, I've seen since this has come up, a lot of this is coming to, you know, as they say, bite Chloe in the ass. Uh,
Mhm.
and because and I do remember I used to watch the Kardashians growing up, but I haven't not growing up, but like when they first started coming on, it was just
Growing
something
up,
fun
we
to
was
watch.
young.
Yeah, we was young, right? And and then I stopped watching it because like it just started getting too much for me. And
Yeah.
but I do remember the whole Jordan Wood situation with Tristan, how she dragged Jordan and how she blamed Jordan for breaking up her family. This 20-year-old girl breaking up her family, and I'm like, nah. how you get them is how you lose them, Chloe. Because that's how she got him.
Right,
He left his first baby mama, who he begged to have a
right.
kid with, and got with Chloe. And then, how many times you gonna let this man embarrass you, girl? But
Mm.
at this point, I'm so tired of Tristan and his little, like, I'm tired of seeing it on my timeline. I'm tired. He had his little apology and how Chloe don't deserve this type of treatment and this embarrassment, and he sent her all these roses, and I'm just kind of like over it.
Yeah, the Kardashians is definitely something, and I don't, I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. You know, so it's just some jokes I've heard too. Is just like they was like the Kardashians being with more black men than the Negro College Fund. The Kardashians could put together an NFL football team that meant black men they got on their team. And I don't. I'm so for interracial dating. Love is love. I don't care who you love, who you are. But what I have a problem with being a black man is that for all these years, I don't know. It just seems like they have tried to be a person of color, and they're
Yes.
not.
No. I really
So it's
respect
just
them if they really embrace their
yeah,
Armenian side. Like, if
right,
that's
right,
such a full of rich culture and they don't embrace it, like,
yeah,
I feel like they should.
no,
But I do kind of feel like
yeah,
they try to depict themselves as, a person of color. But I did see something funny that this is about to be the year of the white man for the Kardashians because Kim is, dating Pete, and
oh yeah, Pete
Tristan,
Davidson,
they getting rid of their BBLs and all this, and like they gonna
yeah,
start seeing this trend with them dating white guys. I'm like, not that this is a trend of dating white guys. I said, oh my God. I was like, you
right,
know what? Where are we coming to when it comes to this pop culture?
right,
But that's the only time I'm getting with the only time I'm going to give to them is that right there. Moving
right.
on. Another So I did find out today, actually before we even started recording, is that the Grammys, I like watching the Grammys sometimes, have been
Me
canceled
too.
due to what? COVID. COVID.
COVID.
So of course this new variant Omicron is um way more contagious, and it
Yeah,
transmits faster than the Delta. Um, so that's why you've seen a lot more people get it, the
yeah.
Omicron, and they're not getting sick because it doesn't build up in the
Sit in the
lungs, like
lungs.
sit in the
Yeah,
lungs, like the Delta variant does.
yeah,
So the people who got the
yeah,
Delta, those are the people who have their lung issues and who are in hospitals. So the Omicron
yeah.
is, just like everybody's getting it. So, and with that
UTI. Yeah,
comes, yeah,
URI.
with, yep. So with that comes
Oh,
cancellations.
I said
So
UTI. Lord Jesus,
I
pray for
know. I
me.
was like, I knew he was going to correct yourself, but I was like, I don't know, the
URI.
UTI.
URI. Hell, you never know these days with Omicron. Goddamn. But
Look,
you're
well,
right.
yeah. So the Grammys are canceled. My daughter's school was
Yeah.
canceled actually today. Um, yeah, the Mayor Lightfoot was like, we canceling school,
Oh
um,
yeah. I
and
saw that.
no
Do you know
e-learning or
the whole
anything.
thing about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So, actually, some little insider information with some of the teachers, is that they found out at 1 a.m. this morning that they were going to be locked out of their classrooms. They were going to be
Yeah.
locked out of their Google Class, so they were not able to even teach anything. So the kids
Yeah.
stayed at home today. My daughter pushing her Girl Scouts cookies. We're trying to
Oh
get
Lord.
her 300.
Right.
So yeah, it was. I think they went live. I think before we started recording, they actually Chicago Public Schools went live, because there are a lot of
Yeah.
very unhappy parents, of course, and teachers. But apparently, they made a deal at the beginning of the year or before the beginning of the year that if after they come back from break, if the number of cases was above 16%, that they would go back to remote learning. And so
Yeah.
after the break, that number hit 17%. So it automatically
Yeah.
triggered for them to. But then I don't know what Mary Lightfoot did, but she, I
She blocked it
COVID,
after the union voted. Yeah.
yeah, she blocked it. And so, yeah, these COVID cases are getting out of hand. I work in the salon, and every day it's either a staff member or it's, a client who's like, cancel my appointment, or I'm not going to be in today because of COVID. Like, this stuff, is just, it's spreading it. But that's what this variant is supposed to do, is doing its job, what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then we got the Florona, which I just hate that name. I hate it, the name. If you haven't heard, y'all, the new variant that's come out of Israel, over, this was on New Year's Day.
I did not
I
hear
thought it
about
was a,
this.
oh, this is breaking news to you. So yeah, I thought it was a joke, but it was breaking news that there was a double infection, a new variant for COVID, and it was the flu and COVID, and they're calling it Florona. And I found out today that the LA county has identified its first case of it. So it's here
Huh.
stateside now. And
Yeah.
I don't have much information about, like, what, how severe it is, but I've had the flu, and I had a very serious
Whew.
case of COVID that had me in the hospital a couple times. And
Mm,
to have both of them motherfuckers,
mm.
don't. So yeah, this COVID is I don't even know.
COVID is
Like, here
crazy.
we're going in year two with this, right? And
Well, year three, technically, if you think
yeah,
about it,
technically
because
three. Yes, year
2019,
three.
2020.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, when does it end? It's like
It's
these
not going to
COVID.
end.
Yeah. I think, I know that some scientists say it's kind of going to be around just like the flu. Um,
Yeah.
and if that's the case, that's the case. But I know that this is so interesting, especially for people like us, because this is something that we're experiencing. Well, not can't say people like
Yeah.
us, but a lot of us
Our
are experiencing
generations,
something.
though,
Our generations are experiencing something that we've never dealt with before.
never.
Having been in a pandemic, having the country
Yeah.
shut down, people watching loved ones get sick, watching people die,
Yeah.
watching people politicize this,
Yeah.
as far as the vaccines, and people going to go back and forth and saying how Biden's not doing this, and all this crazy stuff. And it's kind of like, plus all the other things that we deal
That's
with. And it's so easy for us to be desensitized or become numb to it
yeah.
all, because it's just so much. And COVID is just like, I can only imagine
Yeah.
where we will be 20 years from now, and
Yeah.
coming off of this.
Yeah. Shay, I mean, it's crazy. You know, I know we haven't, because you live in California. You live in Chicago, and I stay here in Kansas City. And middle school is different from where we are now, but I've turned into like the biggest germaphobe ever. So before COVID was even here, my teams would tell anyone like, "Oh, Josh, don't play that Lysol, everything." Like, I would just be crazy because I would always catch the yearly flu, and it would take my ass out. Like, I
Mm.
would be so sick that I'm like, oh God. And then that was it. Not 2 years ago, 2019, beginning of 2019, before COVID came, I had flu A and flu B at the same damn
Oh,
time, and it was just terrible. It took me about, I'm gonna say, 3 weeks total to get better,
wow.
but it's just nothing to play with. And what really just bothers me more than anything is just the I guess the disregard for people's lives. People are too goddamn selfish and like that's all they self, me, my family.
That's
That's it.
America, though. That's
That's
America.
but it's so much more prevalent now because now those barriers of people who kept us molded into a culture
Hmm.
of people who cared about each other, they're no longer here. Those pillars of faith, those pillars of hope, those pillars of love are no longer there. You getting beat up on from all types of levels, so people don't know how to do anything but react in the wrong way. But where we
Right.
are right now is a million freaking cases a day. That's where we are right now
That was
of
breaking
this
news. I heard that today.
million,
That is
a million,
breaking a million
a million
cases.
cases
And these
a
are
day.
people getting who've had COVID already. Some people who've had
Yeah,
COVID twice. And
yeah,
it is now, I believe when it comes to the vaccine, I do believe people have a choice to get it. Um, but I feel like if you don't choose to get it, that you still do your part. And I know there's a lot of people here, especially here in Chicago and like the Illinois area, where who people who are unvaccinated who
yeah,
don't want to wear a mask. And I'm kind of like,
yeah,
well, here's the thing. You're gonna have to wear a mask unless you want to get
yeah.
vaccinated. Like you have to wear a mask. And I didn't get my first dose of the vaccine until last week. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I waited, for
You
I had
sure it
my
wasn't 2 weeks
reasons.
ago? 2 weeks ago.
Uh was it 2 weeks ago?
I thought so. Maybe it was last week, but I got confused. It might have been last week.
I think it
Okay.
was last week because I
You're right.
took off work a couple days because
Okay.
I wasn't feeling well after the
Okay.
first one and my arm hurt
Okay.
like shit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was last week because the week before would have been Christmas and I didn't get it during Christmas.
Oh
I got
yeah.
it
Okay.
in
I got
January,
it
so it
mixed
was
up.
last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and I had my reasons, but I still did what I needed to do. I wore my mask.
Yeah.
I made sure I was washing my hands. I did all the things, and now I got
Yeah.
my first shot. I get my next shot next week. And so do everybody has to do their part. We all gotta do our part.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know everybody's wanting to get back to the way things were. Things are probably gonna never be back the way things were. I don't know if
No.
we're ever gonna, be in a place where,
No.
mask is not a thing. But I,
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
have to commend other countries who've all come
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
to work as a country or
Yeah.
to say, hey, we want to get back on track, and everybody's kind of like, okay, this is what our country needs to do, we're going to do it, and we see where they're at right now, or even before this new variant. And it's like America is kind of like you said, it's all about self,
Yeah.
self, 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 self. It's like you can't, my body, my choice. It's like, yeah, it's your body, your choice, but all we ask is you wear a mask if you don't
Yeah.
want to get the
Yeah.
vaccine, you
Actually,
know.
no, I actually, I was gonna say that I actually don't. I'm a little bit so I'm on the fence. I respect people's opinions on it, but at some point, your opinion and how you feel about stuff has to go out the window when it comes to us being humans. And this
Hmm.
isn't about black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, whatever you classify yourself. This isn't about that. This is about the human race. And so we have to just talk about science. And so science it's proven throughout years of so just like we're thriving to want to survive and live on this earth, viruses are like that. That's viruses are living things, and their job is to what multiply and
Hmm.
spread. So just like we want to not be in poverty. It's almost like the same instincts when it comes to viruses because they're living things. If you think about the extinction of different organisms on this planet, it's always extinct because something greater came in and overtook them, and that's why they're extinct. And this is in those cases with coronavirus or any virus. And so, what really bothers me with people of color, and I'm just talking to my black people right now, we are so in tune with God in spirituality. We claim to be. We claim to be that we believe in the power of God and the power of the Spirit, and God, the blood still flows. But see, what you have to understand is that God's power not only flows through you. Through supernatural ways. God also flows through you through brain power, and His power of knowledge is passed on to us to what right those wrongs and fix those things that we are inflicted with. God gave
Yeah.
people the brain to come up with the vaccine, and now you can all be still hesitant about the past of how people treated people of color when the Tuskegee Airmen experiments and things like that. I understand that. But you have to believe that God gave you the power to fly with airplanes, to drive across the road with cars, to fight cancer when cancer was killing people like left or well, they still are, but
Yeah.
AIDS was a death sentence right away when you got it. So my thing is, you have to believe that God talks and works through you through miracles in this day and age. And God saw fit for us to come up with a vaccine. And it may not be what you want to put in your body, but the alternate fact is that you could get COVID and you could die, or you could get COVID and pass to somebody else and die. You very well could have gotten COVID and passed to somebody else, and very well today they're dead
And not know
because you
it.
didn't take the right precautions of not a mask or getting a vaccine. So I'm out the door, and I'm tired of kind of being nice about the not taking the vaccine,
Yeah.
because we're going to keep getting variants. We're going to keep seeing million cases a day. We're going to keep seeing the shutdowns. We're going to keep seeing the divisiveness in this country because we won't come together on one accord and just say, okay, let's take the damn shot. Let's all get on that page. Let's all wear the mask. I would agree with that. If you, at the end of the day, you don't want to take the vaccine, wear a damn mask. And for you to feel like we're taking your power away, your freedom to just put a goddamn mask on your face to protect a baby or an older person or your own grandmother is just selfish. And
Yeah.
people that live like that, I don't understand how you feel like you're going to inherit the kingdom of God being selfish. I don't understand where you think
Exactly.
that's where God is going to come down and say, oh, you fellow man and woman, my person, you've been faithful following me, but I
My
gave you a
person.
vaccine to, to heal you, and you didn't take it, and now you sitting here dead because you got COVID. Now you up here with me instead of being there with your
He
loved
said,
ones.
my people, one
So,
of my
I'm
peoples.
done. Well, I'm gonna get off my rant, but I am tired of COVID, and I know you all are. But we have to
Yeah.
be so damn sick and tired of it that we're gonna take the right actions to move forward. And so I'll leave it at that because there's people that's gonna be upset, but I don't care. Take the
You know what? It's
vaccine, wear the mask.
what's funny. I seen a comedian talk about specifically Black people. Because a lot
Yeah,
of them use the reason of the Tuskegee experiment and things like that, and like the
yeah,
science is the science. And I can be
yeah.
honest, like I am very leery about the things that I put in my body. But then I
Me
heard a
too.
comedian say, and I've never tried any of these. She said, but he like so you Black folks complaining about the damn vaccine, and y'all sit here and go to the hair store and buy that damn cleansing tea that ain't FDA
Right,
approved, and you're shitting on your
right,
toilet for 3 damn days trying to
right,
lose 10 pounds of fat. You know what I'm
right.
saying? You ain't gonna work out. And I'm just kind of like, he is making a
Yeah.
point. Like, although I've
Niacin
never,
pills to try to clean out. Niacin
right,
pills try to clean out your pee because you trying to don't want to drop dirty. Your vitamins you're taking
right.
daily. The sea moss that you guys are claiming you sell it. Well, no, and I know I have a sister that actually does that, and I believe her. But the sea moss that y'all out there selling that y'all don't know, it's not sea moss, it's algae
Exactly. Exactly. And so it's,
from your
when we think
shampoo.
of you stupid. But when we put it in that perspective, it's like thinking of all the
Yeah,
things that we put in our bodies that is not
yeah,
FDA approved, or that's just not good for us. And we're, getting so
yeah,
hung up on a vaccine. And there's going to be, there's been a lot of debate about it,
yeah,
and I'm all about people having a choice and, um,
yeah. Yeah.
and doing what's best for them. I just think, if that's the way that you're going to go, then there has to be a compromise on your part. Again, wearing the mask, or if
Not gonna
you,
be a
don't know, if you feel like
Yeah.
you are not fully educated on the vaccine, then get educated on the vaccine and the
Right.
science behind it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I do know there are people who got the vaccine, who got COVID, and they had a very mild case.
Yeah.
The vaccine did its job,
Yeah.
because trust me, I had COVID, and it was terrible. I
Yeah.
still suffer from
Mm.
side effects like the brain fog.
Mm.
Like I was telling David not too long ago, like I just mom like since having COVID, like the way my brain tries to articulate words, like my
Yeah.
thoughts be having thoughts trying to pump out the stuff that's trying to come out, and I find myself getting stuck at times. And then even like these
Yeah.
little twitches that I have going on, like I twitch
Right.
all the, like, and I'm just like, I didn't notice that until COVID. And so it's like, that
Yeah.
was like, if people, I know people personally who've gotten the vaccine who got COVID, and they're like, oh, well, I just don't have like a sore throat. So like the vaccine did its job.
Yeah.
And we can spend all day about how, when it comes to, Black people and, vaccines and experiments and stuff like that. All of that is true. All of that did
Yeah.
happen. Two things can be true at the same time. Those are facts. The government was fucked up,
Yeah.
and doing stuff and experimenting on Black people. But there's some things I've heard recently that is kind of ridiculous. Like, oh, I don't want them putting a swab up my nose because they're trying to get, my DNA. And I'm like, I mean,
They
me and
got your
David were talking
DNA.
about this. They already got your DNA. When you go to the doctor and they draw blood, like, and then if they wanted something about you, you got a whole damn phone. You got a whole damn cell
But
phone.
y'all not billionaires. Y'all got $5 in your checking account and got food stamps. Why do they want your DNA? For what?
Look,
What you
that's
gonna
what
offer
David
the
said.
world?
That's what David said. He said, "Why would they want your DNA, like yours specifically?" And so it's like all these things that we hear, and it's just kind of like people like if we want to see this kind of, I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think it's going to be like the flu,
Right.
where it's just going to be
Right.
something that is just around, and when you get it, you have to isolate. You have to
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see in the coming, this coming year about where the stand is going to be with masks, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be going away anytime soon. But it's definitely, I really express people to take care of yourself, not just physically but mentally, because it has been a mental
Yeah.
battle for a lot of us. Being in a pandemic, especially during that whole year of isolation and all that stuff. So really just take care of yourself, guys, and just do what you need to do. So we're gonna get off our
Yeah.
COVID soapbox, and then
Yeah.
we wanted to start doing this thing at the end of our shows where we share some positive Black news. I really feel like there's not a lot of positive Black news that are out there that gets
Yeah.
reported, and we want to make sure that on this show that we are sharing some positive Black news about just amazing things that's happening within our little happy little world here. So I did find some news today. We have three things to share. Shout out to the Ralph Lauren Corporate Foundation. They announced that they will commit $2 million to support scholarships for Black, African, and African American students, including those at Morehouse College, Spelman College, and 10 additional
Woo.
Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, through the United Negro
Morehouse.
College Fund. So that is going to be really amazing. Shout out to them. Also, shout out to Alvin Bragg. He has made history as the first African American to be elected as Manhattan's district attorney in New York City.
God.
Alan, I believe it's 40. I mean, Alvin, sorry, is 48 years old, and he has made history. Okay, history. The
Come
first
on now.
Black
Come on. Come
district
on, Alvin.
attorney. Come on.
Come on,
Come.
Alvin. We know a lot of good Alvins in the city. Come on, Alvin.
And then of course I love my Black kids. I love seeing parents, really give their kids that not even the permission, but making a space and opportunity for them to be uh, you know, a little entrepreneur to really for them to express themselves creatively. And so Rhea G. Madison James from St. Thomas Virgin Islands is on her way to becoming a young professional author. She has already sold over
Okay.
700 books, and now the 10-year-old
Woo.
year old is back with another runaway adventure. It's titled The Runaway Avocado. After her first book she published was The Runaway Watermelon. Now, I have not read any of these
Okay.
books, but I am definitely going to support her. And I just really
Me
love
too.
supporting young Black children. I personally know people even in Kansas City. Shout out to my girl Tova and her family. Like her children, like I think they're all under 13, and one has his own business, and the little ones have their own little fashion line. Like I love seeing um Black families come together and just like they are just creating as a whole. And we just gotta support our kids and their dreams. And I definitely, love doing that. My daughter, she's very creative. She likes making soaps and facial
Mm.
cleansers and all these like things. Her room may look a hot ass mess, but she gonna do her experimenting, and we give her that space to
Right.
experiment. Because had I was growing up and wanted to make a facial cream, my mama would have kicked my ass for using the blender
Right. So
and messing
just
up her
stay out
blend
her stuff.
and stay on her stuff. But I'm glad, that we as me and David can give her the space for her to experiment and get her
Yeah.
her own bowls and get her her own stuff
Right.
so that she can experiment, that she can discover, and that she can create, and she knows that her parents are going to pour into her and do that and support her in those
Right.
things. So we got to
Right.
support our babies and do the things to
Amen.
support them. And
Amen.
even if you don't got kids,
Amen.
support them.
Yeah. And
You just
I just
amen.
wanted to comment off of that. No, no, but you're right. But I want to say this, and I because it's kind of like I know my closing part, but I wanted to say that just because Marche and I, Shay and I may say something, focusing on Black people, does not mean that we are excluding other, races or people. What we're doing in this show is just trying to highlight those people that don't get the light on them at all. It's very
Yes.
hard for Black people, people of color, to really be shine in a great light. So don't look at it as a negative. We are really just wanting people to realize that there are great people of color out there, just like there's great white people and other people as well. We're one humankind, but this show is going to highlight those people that don't ever get the light shine on them. And if
Yes.
nobody told you this, Shay and Josh loves you. Now we're not just here just to just talk and just to share our opinion. We genuinely feel very I guess close to these views and points of trying to pursue and push our culture to be a better. I mean, I think pushing us being better will be better for overall for all people. So
Yeah.
we love you all. So I wanted to
I'm so
say
glad
that
that
because
you said that. No.
last time we'll
Yeah.
have to talk on that
Yeah.
too. So
Yes. We'll have to discuss that because we definitely ruffle some feathers.
yeah,
But I'm so
yeah,
glad that you said that because I need people who are non-black to understand
yeah,
that for so many 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 years, Black people have not had the opportunity and still don't get the
yeah,
opportunity to flex, to get
yeah,
the recognition or the honor that's due to
yeah,
them. And I get that a lot of white people get upset when when
yeah,
Black people do like, oh, Black own this or support Black only. It's
yeah,
because we have lived in a society for so long where we could not sit at the table. We can't have
yeah,
our own, you know. And so, like Josh says, like, we as Black individuals, Black women, Black men here, we want to make sure that we highlight those people, that we find those stories that get missed, because it's not like the mainstream media is going to publish those stories. You know what I'm saying? They're not. And so,
not until
we
we're
need
dead. that's when we get published.
Right. Or, we, get caught doing something, wrong, or the police or anything. But like, I
Yeah,
love hearing positive stories. I
yeah,
love seeing Black love. I love seeing Black families. I love seeing, news about, these, Black people graduating, just starting businesses, and just really just shining and being creative. So I'm so glad you said
right,
that. And then if you find yourself, if you're a palm colored person, non, Black, and you find yourself getting triggered or irritated or frustrated, then you need to check that. You need to find out, why am I being so triggered of two Black
yeah,
individuals sharing their perspective of what it's like to be Black in America. When they
right.
say Black this or Black that or Black on this, like, why am I getting triggered? Why am I getting frustrated? Why am I getting mad? Why do I have an attitude towards them? Like, you need to really check that. So I'm really so glad that you said that. And we are here at the end of the show, guys. And what a day.
Okay.
I'm so glad that you guys are joining us. First, before I forget, thank you to the people who showed out. I have not checked it in a while, but the last time I checked, we had over 600 views of our last show. And
Yeah,
so I'm just kind of like, hey, I mean, maybe more than that, but really, thank you for supporting all of our
yeah.
friends and family who shared it, who watched it, listen to it. Like, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. We are just trying to take something that it's a dream of ours and grow it and nurture it and water it and just, and see where it goes. Like Josh said, we feel really close to the topics and we feel really close to the things that we're trying to pursue. So thank you so much. I don't know, if Josh, if you had any last words before we say our farewell.
My last word to you is wake up tomorrow, if we're blessed for that, and put your best foot forward. Believe in yourself, believe in this
Yes.
country, believe that we will come out of all the things that we are currently dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Adversity really tells you about a person or tells you about a country and what we have so-called claim to have this democracy and republic and all these great institutions. But adversity really makes those things stand up. So it's time for us to really face that adversity, but let's do it together. Come join us next time as well.
Yes.
Don't lose sight of these topics. We want you to talk about them with your own family and friends. And if
Yes.
you have something you want to share with us, engage with us. Message us on our page, post on our page. If you know us personally, and message us. Offer insight. If you have feedback, we welcome it all, people, because this is an interactive
Exactly.
experience. This isn't
Right.
one way. This is a two-sided conversation, and that's where we need to be in this
Exactly.
country. So that's all I have,
Yes.
Shay.
And if you want to be a guest, there's opportunity to come. If you want to come on and share your perspective, we are all game for that. So, like you
We
said, go to
are.
our page, like, share, and until next time, like Josh said, show up and show out. And my Black folks, flex. We'll see you guys later. Bye. You silly.
Bye.